Welcome to Shore Perspectives, a community feature of WESR Radio, highlighting the spirit of the shore from those who call it home.
Barbara Hendershot in Bloxham, Virginia. I came from New Jersey. I'm a come here. And my husband saw the Chesapeake Bay. We were spending the night, and he said, when I retire, I'm coming back there. So we lived in Schooner Bay, and then he got sick, and I had to move up here next door to my son. When he started, we lived at Schooner Bay, and he would fish and everything. And finally, he got lost doing different things. And then I took care of him for a long time, but then my children all came down from New Jersey and said it's time to put him in the nursing home, so I did. And then I volunteered at Heritage Hall Nursing Home just because I went down there and sat with him. They'd take bus trips, and I would go with them and help them push the people around. And then I volunteered for the Alzheimer's Association, and for 10 years I was their top fundraiser, and I made 36 jars, and I had them all around the town of Nancock and Parksley, and I did that, and I was their fundraiser, and I worked with them. I listened to the trivia question about NASA when they first shot up their launch, when their first year it was. And I wasn't sure of the year, but I knew what it was because my husband was in Randolph, New Jersey, up in a tree deer hunting, and he saw this go up, and it was like a rocket. It shot up, and then it opened up and bloomed out. And he didn't know what it was, and he watched it, and he got down out of his tree, and he was going to go to the store to show the people. But when he got up to the store, the lights, he couldn't see it anymore. So he didn't want to go in and say, people, look at this. So he came and got me, and we rode around and tried to see it, but it was gone then. So we didn't know what it was until the next morning when we heard it on the news. It was a weather balloon. I think it was a weather balloon that they shot up from NASA, and he saw it. Now I can sit on my back porch and watch it, and we try to do that every time one goes up.
What was life like for you growing up?
It was different times. My mother, I don't remember my mother as much as I remember my grandmother, because I spent more time with my grandmother and grandfather than I did with my mother. And it was different. I went to church with my grandmother, and now I go to the Guilford Church.
What sort of influences did your grandparents have on you? What did they teach you?
To go to church. You went morning and noon and night.
Anything else that they taught you?
Yes, to be outgoing and to do different things. My grandmother belonged to the United Methodist Women, and I used to go with her to that. They had the best Halloween parties. And so after my husband got sick, I couldn't do anything. But after he went into the nursing home, I quickly joined the United Methodist Women here in Guilford and St. Thomas. And I did that because my grandmother influenced me.
As you were growing up and then becoming a mother and then passing lessons on to your children, what do you think were some of the most important things that you've taught your children?
To be a family, stick together. Now they were all separated or gone to different towns. But as they grew up, even after they first had their children, everybody would come home for Sunday dinners or Easter and Christmas. I have a friend that I babysat for 30 years. And I have a friend, the mother of the children that I babysat for. We happened to be on the computer one day, and I told her my grandson was going to Africa to visit this girl named Katie. And I knew her daughter was Katie, and she was over in Africa in the Peace Corps. And so right away she emailed me back and what's your grandson's name? And I told her, and he was at the airport going to see her daughter, which they didn't know each other as children when I babysat her. But
it's a big world, but it's a small world.
It is.
And going from seeing that rocket launch back in 1961, your husband seeing that, and now look at you, you're here.
And a lot of people aren't 88, and I am, so so glad that I have my memories, because now I live alone, and that's what I do, remember things. And if you don't have your memories, you're lost.
For Shore Perspectives and WESR Radio, I'm Kelley Gaskell.